Welcome back to Edgework, part of the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. I'm Zack Phillips, joined by Alex Moretto, and the better side of New York here today, Michael Leboff, joining us to help break down today's games, answer your questions from the chat, give out best bets, and maybe dig into some futures a little bit. But before we get into anything, I want to remind everybody that today's show, as always, is sponsored by FanDuel, and the hockey season is in full swing in FanDuel. With FanDuel, you can turn a little hunch into a true power play. FanDuel has the hottest same-game parlays found on the Parlay Hub. Lace them up and follow your bets with player prop tracking, or bet on the fly with the Pulse. Make every NHL watching experience more with FanDuel, North America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers kick off season with $150 in bonus bets. Just place any $5 bet and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Please play responsibly. Must be 19 plus, physically located in Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600. That's 1-866-531-2600. Visit connectsontario.ca. Leboff, glad to have you here with us today. Much better mood to have you on, an Islanders fan, than have to hear Albert be dragging his feet on the show, complaining about the Rangers every morning.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a little different, right? Like the Rangers fans don't really know how to deal with this kind of stuff, and like Islander fans, we're kind of molded in it. I always say when Ranger fans or the Rangers go through a slump like this, they're like, oh, we're spiraling out of control. But for Islander fans, we're always kind of in like out of control, so we spiral into control like when things are going well. But yeah, it's like that James Franco meme when like first time. It's crazy how little Ranger fans understand that this stuff happens in sports. You know, teams struggle. You don't need to blow the team up at every losing streak. I know this one's a little drastic, but it's pretty crazy out there. So I'm happy to be here. Obviously, wish the Islanders were a little bit better. It says a lot about the Islanders that the Rangers are like 3-11, and they haven't passed them yet. So that's pretty impressive stuff from the Isles.
Well, I mean, it is pointed out here in the chat, and we'll do this right away. Kev says Islanders didn't help us getting over yesterday. We went 3-2 on best bets. We went Sens money line there, -125. Bruins money line against the Flames. They get that one done in OT. We lose the Devils Blues over 5.5. We lose the Islanders Hurricanes over 5.5. We win the Sabres Habs over 6. Habs themselves putting 6 on the board there yesterday. But I mean, Moretto, as far as that Islanders Canes one goes, I know it was So Money, not you, but we were expecting, I think So Money said 2 goals from the Islanders. That was what he was looking for. Unfortunately, yesterday we get none. It's 4-0 Canes, so that one loses. As far as yesterday's games go, though, Moretto, and the bets we gave out, how do you feel about the card yesterday? Bets that were given out, and maybe some of the ones that we talked about and weren't given out.
Yeah, I mean, so I didn't watch the Isles game. I didn't watch any games last night, really. I had to leave for hockey. I got to see like the first half of the Habs game, and then I had to go. But it looks like the Isles did generate a decent amount of offense just based on the numbers, and Kochetkov just played great. Is that kind of what happened there?
Yeah, it was. A little bit. They fell down early because they can't kill a penalty. They're tracking to be a historically bad penalty kill for the second straight year. So that the score effects kind of pushed the Islanders into generating more chances. Kochetkov was really good, but part of the problem was the Islanders had probably 5 or 6 grade A chances in the first 25-30 minutes of the game, and 3 of them fell in the stick of Hudson Fasching. 1 fell in the stick of Scott Mayfield. So I do think the numbers flatter, even in a 4-0 loss, the numbers flatter the Islanders a little bit. I don't think that they played particularly well. They said that they did. I saw Patrick Waugh saying that they outshot the Hurricanes, which is hard to do, which is true, but it's a lot easier to do when you're down 2-0, like right at the jump. So I think the Islanders have part of the problems. They've been giving themselves too much credit in these losses. They got to start stringing some results together here.
The Sheldon Keefe effect. The respect and the handshake line. But yeah, in terms of the other games last night was definitely upset that in hindsight we did not bet the Habs. That number just, like, you thought maybe that team meeting would spark Buffalo into some sort of show of life. And I was just, if it were honestly, I was like, I was telling Zach before the show, if it wasn't the Habs on the other end of that game, I would have been betting against the Sabres last night. But because it was the Habs, I didn't want to sit here with money on them and also watch the Sabres beat us in our building for their first win in like 11 games. So yeah, hindsight was 2020 there. We definitely should have got on that. And then so money not letting us bet the Preds was a mistake. The fade the Rangers into generational wealth opportunity still is going on. That will still go on for a little while until we see some sort of heads roll there. Yeah, I don't know. I just the number got into some crazy spots with the Preds, like to like -140, -150, which is I get that it is insane, but like there's very few numbers you can't bet against this Rangers team right now.
Moretto, quickly here, just to touch on this before we dig into today's games and some bets that have been placed, maybe looking at some other futures. Habs, let's dig into that one a little bit more. Patrick Laine, what do you, how are you feeling in general about the Habs right now? Laine coming back, this magical run that he's had since his return.
Yeah, I mean, he's like almost getting ready to pass Matthews right now in terms of production and goals, and he's barely played this year. So it's great to see. Maybe the Leafs made the wrong selection with that first overall pick that year. I don't know, but no, honestly, it's great to have him on the power play. If anything, like again, 3 power play goals last night, 5-on-5. He still isn't doing a ton right now. I think just the fact that he hasn't played a lot of hockey, like much lately, he needs to still get the legs back. It's coming. There's been like signs of it for sure, but him just parked out on the hash there and on the power play there. Just I don't know if you guys saw the goals he scored last night, but like all 3 of them were basically identical and just bombs. Like you can't save those. There's not much you can do as a goalie.
When I watched the highlights of them, I saw they play the first one, and then they play the clip of the second one. And I thought it was just the same highlight of the first one playing again at that point. I'm like, they just looped it together 20 times here. It wasn't. It was the 3 different goals. But I thought that was pretty funny. And also, we did not have Laine in the anytime goal round robin. That would have been generational wealth there last night, Moretto. I do think someone suggested a hat trick yesterday, but I don't remember who the player was. I don't know if you do, but if it was a Laine and we turned it down, then that's disgraceful on our behalf.
No, I'm the one that gave Laine for our ATG parlay.
I know, but someone suggested after. I just don't remember who the player was that they said.
Also, I'm not gonna get into this right now because Charles, you're trying to poke the bear on a Wednesday, but come on, where is this coming from? I don't know why. We don't need to do this right now. That's not right. Suzuki showed up just fine. So did Caulfield in that cup run, I thought. But what do I know?
Man, I have a question too. Like, I wonder how many, because all day yesterday I was kind of thinking about that Sabres game and the meeting and the tweets that came out saying that the team was just gonna be status quo. Yeah. Because all day I was like, oh, I should probably bet the Canadians here and not let that affect me. And I still cowered out of betting against the Sabres in that situation. I really wonder how many people out there were kind of gung ho about betting Montreal and will talk themselves out of a bet because of what was going on with Buffalo and being like, oh, we'll get their best effort here because that's what normal teams would do without remembering that they're not very normal.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did. We talked ourselves out of it. Not even talked ourselves out of it. So money was close to betting the Sabres yesterday. But thankfully, the Sabres took some money and just like got out to some crazy numbers. He's like, I think we just missed the boat, so we're just going to sit this one out. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've seen enough Habs games to know that that felt like a scheduled loss for me. I was very, when we scored 90 seconds in, I was very surprised, and it just nothing like, I think honestly, maybe if we don't score 19 seconds in, you get a different game from the Sabres, but maybe like that just killed any hope they had. I don't know if that was kind of what made the difference, but that was missed opportunity for sure.
So you don't think that, as Terry Pagula said, the solution is in the room?
Well, I think it's probably in the room. It definitely was in the room last year and the year before and the year before.
Yeah. I think the issue is you have to move the whole room out of Buffalo. Then maybe they'll be fine because they clearly have had the answers within there and they just keep trading them away. And then I don't know, maybe if the room is in a different city, they'll be okay. I don't know if that's the issue.
Okay, I want to ask Leboff about this because I think it was 2 weeks ago or a week ago here, Moretto gave out a best bet, futures best bet on the show, and I want to know what you think about it. as the Islanders fan, an Islanders guy who can come here and watches the team regularly, this is the bet Moretto gave out. This was December 12th. New York Islanders to make the playoffs. Yes, plus 235. It's been 6 days, so a week since that bet has been given out. What are your thoughts on that position and kind of how it's aged over the last week?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Islanders have this weird superpower of kind of doing this, and there's actually a lot of teams in this season that are doing the same exact thing that they did last season. I mean, Buffalo for sure, even Philly a little bit. That it's just like in their DNA at this point. I think a lot of people are looking at the Islanders saying, "Oh, well, this is where I expected them to be," and they'll hang around and they'll go on a run and get in. And I don't discount that at all. The problem as a fan is and watching every game is the way that they're finding a way to lose these games is just harrowing. The game against the Blackhawks was really tough to swallow, giving up that goal with under a minute left in regulation after the Islanders got a pretty gift power play with 4 minutes left. But as a lot of Islander fans texted me, as soon as the Islanders got the power play, we all knew that they were going to lose that game in regulation, which is not normal. It's supposed to be we're supposed to be celebrating things like that, but the Islanders are playing a way that you don't like. It's hard. They're robbing us of all this joy. So it's really hard to see like the big picture, step back and see the big picture, because there's been a lot of good that they played. They've also dealt with a ton of injuries, and they've proven in the past that they are a team that once they do get their game together, they do tend to rip off 8-1-1 or 7-2-1 stretches. But the issue here is that the schedule coming up is tough. They just played the Hurricanes last night, and I think they played the Maple Leafs 3 times within the next 2 weeks. They've got a couple against the Penguins who've put stuff together. So I do wonder if it might get a little worse before it gets better, which scares me a bit. But I would say right now, like those odds make sense. They are very grateful. They should be very grateful that they play in the Eastern Conference with the middling pack, as it were. I do think that there's a chance that maybe we see Ottawa put some distance between them and the chasing teams for like one of the wild card spots. But I think Boston will still be there. Obviously, the Rangers will still be there to be caught. I don't believe the Flyers are going anywhere either. So I do think like there's going to be a spot for the Islanders if they can get their act together, but they just haven't been able to do it yet. So yeah, I'm not going to talk anyone out of betting the Islanders to make the playoffs. I want them to desperately, but it's not been fun at all. This has been a very unfortunate season to be a part of.
Moretto, how have you felt about that bet over the last week?
Yeah, well, I mean, Charles is right. If I like plus 235, I'll love plus 290, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
But I mean, fair. But I don't know. I just hope that getting healthy and now hopefully staying healthy will be a big difference for them down the stretch. I still like Wall as a coach. I still like the team, and obviously I'm not nearly as plugged into this team as Leboff is. So hearing some of the stuff he's saying is obviously a little bit concerning. But the East and like those fringe playoff teams don't exactly scare me, and I still think the Islanders have like what it takes to take that last spot, because we've seen it time and time again now where maybe they just don't exactly inspire confidence, or they're in this rut. Like last year, they ended up having the coaching change. Like things were pretty dire again, and they still found their way in. So hopefully we get the same thing here.
And a lot of people think they're going to pull the plug and sell Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri, but Lou rarely does that, and so I do think he's going to give this team every chance. I mean, even after the coaching change, the Islanders went on a little bit of a run, and then they lost 7 in a row in March after the trade deadline, and still made the playoffs. So like they do have this weird way to find rock bottom multiple times in a season and then end up in the playoffs. But they can't let the distance get too much greater than it is right now between them and the teams in front of them. Hopefully they did play a jam-packed schedule too. Like they played more games than basically anyone in the league. So getting healthy and getting some more favorable schedule hopefully helps. And like the Adam Pelech injury really hurt more than I think people realize. And even Varlamov, because they've just had to roll with Sorokin, and he's gassed now. So it's been tough. And Duclair's only played 5 games. It hasn't been fun. Not like the Hurricanes.
They got hit hard. They got hit hard with injuries. Really hard.
Did you guys know that the Hurricanes, there's only been one skater who's missed any games so far for them this season?
That's wild.
Seth Jarvis is the only one. Yeah.
And he didn't miss that long.
Their entire blue line has played every game, and every forward except for Jarvis and whoever they rotated in for him has played every game.
Yeah, and it's the thing with that is like, how sustainable is that? Obviously, right? Like you kind of almost want to get your injuries out of the way early, and then hopefully they don't all pile on in like April.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, you'd even think at some point some guy would just miss one for getting banged up with something, like anything.
Yeah. Right.
That honestly, that sounds like a Rangers stat where the Rangers have like the best health of all time in the last 2 years. So.
Yeah. All right, let's get into today's games. We got 5 to go through. We'll run down each of them. If you guys have questions in the chat, make sure to send them there in the chat throughout the course of the show here today about the games, whatever it is. We'll try to answer them as we go through them, as well at the very end of the show. Because we do have at least 5 games here, we will run down an anytime goal score parlay or some type of parlay to close out the show here today. Let's start, though, with the Flyers and the Red Wings. Philly here tonight, -102. Detroit, -118, 6.5 the total on FanDuel, +114 over, -140 under. Moretto, I'll let you start this one off here. When you're looking at sides totals in this one, is there anything that's interesting you right now?
So the thing with the Flyers that I've talked about a bunch is how I think they're this under team and like how they're going to become this under team again with Urson back. I still firmly believe that to be the case, but I'm starting to think more and more so that it's not really got anything to do with Urson. Maybe we were a little bit too quick to jump the gun on him. He's looked terrible since coming back, and it could just be a case of rust and like him missing time and just trying to get back to his game. But maybe it's just that he's not as good as we thought. Like there's not a huge sample size to pull from with him to like definitively say one way or the other. Obviously, hasn't been very encouraging lately, but like Kolosov has kind of been solid. I like what I've seen from him. He's also a young guy. There will be ups and downs with him. Don't really know who exactly is going to start tonight, but what I do know is that the Flyers have been doing a great job of sheltering these guys no matter what. They're just playing really good defense in front of them, really strong defensive numbers, strong on the PK. They've been all good all year on the back end, but like really kind of getting stronger as the year goes on. Since the start of December, they have been the best defensive team in the NHL by a pretty wide margin, a 5-on-5 too. So schedule hasn't exactly been tough, but this game is obviously right in line with that, where like the Wings are not exactly gonna, overpower you or outscore you at any point. So I think Wings, similar boat too with their defensive play. It's been a real strong suit for them right now. Definitely profiles as a tighter defensive game. We just saw these two teams play less than a week ago. All the expected goal numbers and the actual goal numbers are all pretty low. I see no reason for that to change here. So I'm quite surprised we're getting pretty like flat 5-6s here. And yeah, under 6, -110. I bet it.
All right, we will add this one in. Under 6, -110. That's widely available here right now as well. Leboff, in terms of this bet or this game in general, you agree with that one? Is there anything else that you're looking at in this game?
Yeah, I have a bet that's very similar to that or correlated to it. I really like this game to go to overtime at 3-1 because I do think that with the way that both of these teams need to play, which is, protect your goaltender, focus on keeping the game tidy and defense first and worry about scoring later. I think that you can make a case that this thing is very low event, pretty boring. And I don't think either team would mind if just getting to that 10-minute mark of the third period with the game tied and seeing it out. And neither are really strangers to overtime. So I like the draw here at 3-1.
There you go. Two best bets in this game, under 6, -110, and the draw at 3-1. Moretto, look at that. Bring in this guy for one show, and all of a sudden we're handing out draws again. I haven't done this in a year.
I miss it. I miss it big time. This is exactly what we needed. This is the energy we needed to bring on this Wednesday. So, yeah, I like it.
We would have had Albert be like, nothing for me. Nothing for me for 5 games.
I lean this way, I lean that way, but I don't really have anything in this game.
Okay, so under 6, -110, and 3-1 draw Flyers Red Wings here to see you have Leboff on that one. There's your first two best bets. We will recap everything at the very end of all the games here today, so don't worry if you miss anything or you're wondering what it was. We will get to those. But next up, Leafs and Stars. Maple Leafs here tonight, +112. Dallas, -134. 5.5 is the total on FanDuel right now. 6 is elsewhere, -124. The over on the 5.5, +102 under. Leboff, what are you thinking in this one here with your favorite team, the Maple Leafs? Both of your favorite teams.
Yeah, this is a good one. I like where the Leafs were at. Like they're getting propped up by their goalies and playing out of their skull, and they both have injury histories. And wouldn't you know, rolling with a tandem that with both guys who are unproven as 82 game starters is kind of nipped them in the bud a bit. But this is going to sound crazy. I kind of like betting both the Robertsons to score here. I don't really have much of a take on the game, but I don't know. Like in hockey, I think we used to like poo-poo the narrative streak kind of stuff, but in a game where effort really matters a lot, and just both of these guys should be up for this game, shooting the puck a lot. They both have great shots, and I know that they've both been pretty terrible this year. But if you're in terms of just like a bet to have some fun or to sprinkle on, I kind of like a Robertson anytime goal scorer bet, whether it's one or both or something. I do think both these guys will be up for it if Nick draws it to the lineup. He's always doubtful, right? Like, who knows?
I have slandered Nick Robertson a lot on this show this year.
Yeah, I mean he's. Yeah. I was waiting forever for the Islanders to just trade Oliver Wahlstrom for Nick Robertson, and both fan bases being like, great buy low spot, and then you get the guy, you're like, oh, this guy's just not very good at hockey, so that's why.
I don't even want to. I got in trouble yesterday for some comments I made about Nick Robertson, so that was fun to deal with. But we can lock this in here. I'm just looking on FanDuel right now. Nick Robertson and Jason Robertson, plus 270. Nick Robertson plus 600. Do you want to go? We can go half unit on Jason Robertson. Maybe like what do you want to do? Like a fifth AV unit, $20. We're doing $100 units.
Or we can throw them into our goal scorer parlay too at the end.
Just save them for later.
Yeah, save it for later. It's not okay. Like I said, I'm coming on here. I want to have some fun, a little bit of fun. I don't particularly think that the odds on either side or the total in this game are all that enticing. But I could totally see us waking up tomorrow and Luke Fox having a sprawling article on Sportsnet about how special the game was for the two Robertson brothers that they scored. So that's what I'm betting into here.
Can't wait to read that article too.
Moretto, what are your thoughts on this game?
Can't top that. I don't even want to talk about this game anymore. I agree though with I agree with there being nothing really enticing about the side or total in this one. I was definitely getting to a point like where I'm approaching the Leafs territory again, but like the market kind of seems to be on that side as well, where I think the Stars are kind of fairly priced here. I don't know. The Leafs just haven't really been that good again. Like the last 10 games, they've won the expected goals battle at 5-on-5 just twice. And that was against Anaheim and Buffalo. So like, again, we're just not really seeing the play from them that has matched the results. They've definitely been carried along by their goaltenders. We'll see now how that changes with Stolarz out for a while and then Wall having to shoulder a starter's load, which has, Wall's obviously a very, very good and very talented goalie. Definitely not going to knock anything about that. But can he shoulder this now workload that he's going to have for the next 4 to 6 weeks or however long it actually takes? I don't know. We'll find out though. I think the thing here, if you are looking to get in on this side either way, just keep in mind that Ottinger started 6 games in a row. That's the season high for him. Previously was 5. So this could be a Casey DeSmith game. And if so, I think you're going to want to just wait for Dallas because I'm sure we'll see money pour in on Toronto if that gets announced. And then so definitely just keep an eye on that in terms of timing here. And if you want to bet the Leafs, maybe we don't see better. But again, if we get Ottinger, I can see Dallas taking a little bit more money still. So I don't know, just definitely something to monitor with this one if you're looking to bet the side. But I got nothing.
All right, there you go. There's thoughts on Leafs Stars game here tonight. We do have two best bets already on the show today, but we had none in that one. Next up, we're gonna go to Florida, Minnesota. The Panthers -140, the Wild +116, 5.5 total, -118 over, -104 under. Moretto, what do you got for us here, if anything?
So yeah, the Flyers, they still have their fastball, man. Like that, I don't know, like this. We talked a lot about what did I say?
Flyers.
I don't know, man. I'm all over the place here. Yeah, the story with them this season has been pretty simple. Like they've given up very little, basically night in, night out. And they're gonna largely play well and control games. Like it's just a matter of whether or not they get the goaltending, because like they've been pretty consistently putting in good performances, which we were maybe unsure of coming to the season. Like, where is the intensity going to come from? And some nights it's been there pretty much consistently. So goaltending has just sort of let them down. Like Bobrovsky's always been a little bit streaky. I think maybe this has been a little bit to the extreme this year, where he's gone through some really rough stretches and then some really good stretches, and then Knight was good, and then it's kind of tailed off a little bit of late. So yeah, for the Wild, it's kind of been a similar story where, despite some maybe outlier games, they remain very elite defensively. This is definitely not a spot where I think the Panthers tee off here. I think this is played really tight, especially with the Wild in a little bit of a downswing. This is kind of a bigger game for them. You look at some of their recent wins, like they've beaten Philly, Utah, Anaheim, Vancouver, Nashville, Chicago, Buffalo, and the recent losses, Vegas, Edmonton, Kings, Winnipeg. So like when they've been leveling up, they haven't quite been up to snuff. So this is definitely one of those games where I think they're going to really want to make a statement, and the way for them to do that is to play good defense. So like I think both of these teams are definitely warrant 5.5 totals. The thing is, I can't do it with what the goaltending matchup is going to be. Obviously, Gustafsson being hurt, Fleury hasn't exactly been great, and you don't really know what you're going to get from the Panthers goaltending. So would kind of lean to an under here, but yeah, just don't love it at this price.
All right, nothing official there from Moretto. Leboff, is there anything for you? Is this game intriguing at all?
I want to bet the draw on this one too, but the goalies are a little scary because. As we say, like who knows who shows up for both of these guys, and that's kind of been the MO for them in like the later stages of their career. For if Florida rolls with Bob, and Fleury is just Fleury. So I wanna bet the draw. I think maybe the best way to do it is a live draw. If the game's pretty tight, maybe it's 2-1 or something late. Because I do think that these two teams. Really good defensively. If you look at their last 10 games, like I think they're spot on 1.81 expected goals against at 5-on-5. So they both shut it down really well. Low event game. I like the draw. But
all right. So nothing as of right now, but kind of just taking a look at that one. You're getting 3-1 on the draw. Maybe just wait, as Leboff said there, look a little bit later and maybe see what you can get in a live number as we wait for Moretto to come back. I saw questions here in the chat. Connor asking about the total on this one here for you, Moretto. If a 6 -20 shows, are you playing an under? Do you think it even gets there?
There is one out there. It's definitely just not available for most people, which is why I didn't mention it. But I would play that. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I had to run up and down the stairs to let someone into my house. I'm not built for that anymore.
Good. Yeah, Sam here. Good point. Will Cat score 0 or 9 goals? No one knows. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there you go. So that is Panthers Wild. Nothing for us here in that one officially, but a couple things to maybe look out for throughout the course of the day. Under total, under 6 -20 if it gets there, and then looking later on, maybe live in that one is draw price, as Leboff was suggesting. But next game we'll go to, as we do have 2 left on the schedule here, Canucks and the Utah Hockey Club. Vancouver +100 on FanDuel right now. Utah -120. 5.5 the total of FanDuel, -132 over, +108 under. And there was a question earlier, Adam's Digest. Am I crazy for taking Vancouver moneyline +120? Utah being really bad at home, and Vancouver really good on the road. Well, I will say, just numbers wise, at least, if you got a +120, then you're in a very good spot there, because best price out there that we're seeing right now is plus 110s, and we're seeing FanDuel at plus 100 there as well. Leboff, when it comes to this Canucks team, how they've been playing lately, is Adam getting a steal on that bet?
Yeah, I think that's a good bet at plus 120. It's just this Canucks team, I think, is like in a weird way. There's some people that overrate them, and then there's other camps that are underrating them. They might just be like the 8th best team in the Western Conference, and that's just what they are. And they probably have a high ceiling when it comes to like a 7-game series. But it's with the goalie, if the goalie's healthy, and they obviously have some really high end talent. And they are a bear to play against if they're on their game. Like they check hard. They're Rick Tocchet will get them up for anything. But I've had a lot of issues with trying to figure out what kind of effort to predict from them. I would lean towards Vancouver in this game. I don't think Utah's all that good. I think a lot of us, including like myself, overrated them with the start and like just that jolt they got from moving into a new market. Vizmelka's been really good. Like he's an interesting case too. I wonder if a team at the deadline moves for him and it just doesn't work out because his numbers have been really good this year after pretty poor showing last year. And when goalies trade teams, obviously it's pretty convoluted situation. But yeah, it's a long way of saying I got nothing here. I guess I would lean towards playing Vancouver at the plus number, but nothing too exciting.
Moretto, anything for you in this one?
Yeah, no, I think that was well put about the Canucks. Like, where there are some people who are like, this is still a really good team and maybe overrating them a little bit. And then some people are like, this team just kind of sucks now. It's like, well, maybe they're just like right in the middle range. Like, I think that's actually like, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I would agree that that's probably what they are at this point. They can't get any offense going. And that's kind of been their biggest issue. They just can't generate like chances. They can't score goals. It's crazy because they do have the talent up front. So like you would expect that at one point to change, but like, I don't know when that's going to kick in. So yeah, I would lean Vancouver here. Like this is one of those where like you look at the number and you're just like I'm like definitely higher on this Vancouver team than I am Utah. I don't like Utah's been playing really good and whatever. Like I still don't buy into it. I'm still not a big Utah guy. Like this is a team I definitely want to fade at one point. I think there will be some ups and downs, but there's definitely a nice downswing coming, I'd say. But like I get why Utah is priced the way they are just because of how they've been playing and how the Canucks have been playing. But Canucks maybe getting something going now, beating Colorado their last game, like maybe get a little bit of momentum going here. And then also getting on the road where they've been so much better this year than at home. Like they just have been such a mess at home. I don't know what that is about, but they've definitely been a considerably better team on the road. So I would definitely lean Canucks here as well at this price. But like, I just haven't seen enough from them lately to be ready to just sort of dive in here.
Canucks are interesting as well, watching the JT Miller, Elias Pettersson stuff unfold, having to kind of be at a point where you got to make a decision almost between JT Miller and PD because of whatever the hell is going on internally there. That's a nightmare to put it lightly, honestly. That's a gross situation.
Yeah, well, at least they're not locked up to long-term deals, so it should be pretty easy to figure that one out.
The amount of teams going through this like just disastrous early season stretch where like internally everyone's everything's a mess and like everything's on fire, like it's crazy. It seems like it's half the league that's in a bit of a shitstorm right now.
No,
I think it's just a product of the salary cap because these guys get locked up for so long they just get sick of one another. It's so hard to move guys that like if you have an issue like this, you can't move on from it. And it just, I mean, the Rangers, everyone was like, "This is my favorite Rangers team ever" 6 months ago.
Yeah,
they all love each other, and now like they can't. It's just bizarre.
The tightest locker room in hockey.
Yeah, you've never seen a locker room this tight. These guys hang out together off the ice. Oh, really? That sounds really unique.
Yeah. Hey, they hung out. They hung out a couple nights ago playing darts. Apparently.
Yeah.
So I mean, everything was okay again.
Yeah.
What a mess. All right, final game of the night here on the card. Jets and Ducks. Winnipeg minus 196. The Ducks plus 162. 5.5 total on FanDuel minus 140. Over plus 112. Under right now. Leboff, I'll let you kick this one off on the last game of the night. What are you thinking here between Jets and Ducks?
I kind of like the Ducks.
Let's get disgusting.
I kind of like the Ducks here. I mean, like I give Winnipeg so much credit, and I give like the powers that be in Winnipeg so much credit for what they've been able to do, not just this year, but like this entire era of Jets hockey, the past few seasons. Everybody's waited for them to bottom out and tank and all that, but they've been able to keep a team together. They slot guys into like the right role for them. Obviously they've got a room that now does seem to pull in the same direction. And I think they're a good team. I think that they're one of a team that can absolutely go on a run in the spring because of the way they play and the goaltending, as long as Hellebuck goes on. But he's not playing tonight, so I do think that takes him down a few pegs, and we'll see a tighter game than the odds imply.
All right, Moretto, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that. Like Hellebuck masks so much of what this team, like all their little inefficiencies. Like obviously Hellebuck masks all that, right? You can get away with a lot more when he's in net, and obviously when he's not in net, that changes quite a bit. Anaheim, we've seen their offense tick up a little bit. Defensively, they're still a mess, but like they have been generating a lot more too. And I don't have a bet in the side. I would agree that it would be Ducks or nothing for sure. But I do like the over in this game at 6. There's some cheap 6s. There's even some plus money 6 out there. I do like the over with Comrie, and I know that the Ducks have gotten good goaltending from pretty much anyone who's in there, but they just give up so much that you can get good goaltending and still allow a number of goals. That does not necessarily reflection on their goaltending when they do. Winnipeg, obviously with Comrie in that, like the Jets, like we talked about, they give up a bunch. It's just that he masks a lot of those issues. And with Comrie in there, I would expect Anaheim to get theirs too. So at a pretty cheap 6 here, I do like the over.
Over 6 minus 105. We'll grab here, Moretto.
That works.
I think that one's pretty good. There is
also,
plus money out there.
A little couple notes. Someone mentioned in the chat too, but yeah, Jordan said the flu is running through the stars. I just saw that quote too. So there's a number of game time decisions tonight in the lineup, which is upsetting. But another break for the Leafs. What are you going to do? And then also it is maybe we didn't factor this into the price, but Jake Ottinger is starting, and it's his birthday today. So hey. That's a 10-cent boost right there. I don't know about you, but birthday Jake, that's significant.
Bet the shutout.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. Those are the games for today. These are the best bets that we've locked in here so far. We do have 3. We've got Flyers, Red Wings, regulation time draw. That one to go to OT. Plus 320. We've got the Flyers and Red Wings under 6 minus 110. And then we have the Jets and Ducks over 6 minus 105. Those are the 3 best bets that we've locked in here today on the show. Let's get to our anytime goal scorer parlay. We will take suggestions from the chat here and see what you guys have and what you guys are thinking here as well. And then courtesy of Leboff and Moretto, we will also add some anytime goal scorers into this one here today. So Leboff, let's start with you. You were looking at the Robertsons in the Leafs Stars game. We'll add one of them in. Is there one you prefer?
Go with Nick. Okay. I mean, the flu in Dallas. We'll just go Nick. Yeah, I'm expecting him to that lethal shot that we see all the time from Nick Robertson. That's a mess to 2 goals this season. And hey, did you hear that he had a really good preseason, Zach?
I think he did have a pretty good preseason. Yeah.
Go Nick.
Plus 650, Nick Robertson. 5 goals. 5 goals in
great.
preseason.
It's great
3
having
games.
some support on here, I gotta say. It's really nice having some support for a change.
I think a guy named Cam Thiesing led the Islanders in points in preseason, and he plays for Worcester now. So, I'm glad we're still putting stock into that kind of stuff.
Like, just so we're clear here on the show, I've been pretty anti Robertson, so we know that. Just so everyone's on the same page here, this is not a guy I was hyping up after that. I think the comments I was making was, yeah, that's great. Let's see what he does in the regular season, and then got some not so positive feedback regarding my comments about him lately. But
I think it's
that one goes in
guilty by association for you, unfortunately, Zach. Just based on the team you support.
That's fair. Okay, so that one, first one here, Nick Robertson. Anyone in the chat has any, or Moretto, if you've got any, since you were hot yesterday with Patrick Laine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get another guy who scores a hat trick here, but I do like Troy Terry a little bit there, plus 270 at FanDuel.
All right,
we got some Ducks and over, so I think it makes sense.
Okay, Troy Terry plus 270. Here's the ones that were suggested in the chat, Charles. We're gonna wipe that one out. Banger of an Austin Price is plus 140 on FanDuel. We're taking that out. We put Nick Robertson plus 650 in there. We have Cole Perfetti, but we just grabbed Troy Terry, so we will not go with Perfetti in that one. Bobby McMahon plus 500. We will also not go with because we just did Nick Robertson. So those games are off the board. Stop suggesting Leaf Stars and Ducks Jets, please and thank you.
JT Miller.
All right, there you go. JT Miller. What is the price we've got on JT
280
Miller
on FanDuel
right now?
Good number.
Yep. Let's go with that. JT Miller. Also 280. So that's 3. And then
the last one right here. Yeah.
Michkov Knight. All right.
I'm
good with those.
There's our 4.
That's a good 4. Last thing I want to ask you guys. Oh, go ahead, Leboff.
No, I'm just endorsing that I love those picks. I was trying to find a flyer, and I would have overthought it and found a Nick Robertson on the Flyers too. So I like Michkov.
Okay, Michkov in. I was gonna ask you guys. Conversation came up, I think, a couple of weeks ago here on the show, and it kind of started like building in the chat, and then it's become a little bit more mainstream lately here as well. Celebrini, I was watching last night some highlights of that game, and then kind of just digging through like even just the passes he makes and stuff like that, the plays he's making even when goals aren't scored. Has he done enough to this point to kind of garner a discussion of whether or not he's better than Bedard, like a legitimate discussion that he could be better than Connor Bedard? Like, is that worthy of having?
Yes, I think he is better than Bedard, to be honest. I think I don't even know if it's, I think Bedard has to do more right now to get in that discussion at this point. Yeah, Celebrini honestly is so good, and he just depresses me because it's like, what's it like to get a first overall pick in a year that like there's a generational talent? That must be really cool. I'm happy for the teams that are able to have that. Good for them, because we got a good second line power forward from ours, which is fine. I'll take it. Like, I like Slav and I think he's good, but like he's not a first line superstar. He's a second line power forward, and it would be really cool to have a first line center generational player, Hall of Famer, with your first overall pick, but can't all be so lucky.
No, yeah. And or you could do what the Islanders did and pick the wrong guy when they drafted the guy they took before Victor Hedman. So
yeah. Yeah,
that's fair.
Fuck that guy.
Jordan, our Hawks fan, not so happy with that. Recency bias is a hell of a drug. I mean, I guess that is a part of it, but I mean, he is playing incredible. I think one of the other things that is going into this is the Sharks are more fun to watch as well. Like, Chicago is not. I was watching last night. There was a play where Bedard toe dragged like back-to-back 2 guys, and then goes to pass backdoor to somebody, and I think it was Bertuzzi, and I'm pretty sure he just fell over. Like, he had like a backdoor tap in, tries to get it, and just falls over. I'm like, oh dear God, like there's not much help going on for this guy right now in Chicago. Whereas I'm watching Celebrini and San Jose, and it's like he's feeding, I think it was Toffoli, like
blacking out again, man.
Yeah, like Toffoli. He's feeding Toffoli, who's burying everything.
I thought he went to San Jose to mail it in. He did not. He went to San Jose to play hockey. Good for him.
Yeah. All right, there you go. So our anytime goal score parlay for today, we've got 4 of them. Nick Robertson, Troy Terry, JT Miller, Matvei Michkov. That will give us $10 pays, $3,500 for tonight. Swing for the fences. That might have something to do with Nick Robertson plus 650 being in there, but this is the one. Our best bets for today's show are the draw to go to overtime in Philly, Detroit. We also have the under 6 minus 110 in that game. And then our last best bet of the night is Jets, Ducks over 6 minus 105. So thank you so much to everyone who tuned into the show here today. We appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Leboff, we appreciate you joining us here today. This is fun. This was a much more positive show. And nice to see, like a tidy, clean background, proper mic, that kind of stuff. If it was Albert, it's unmade bed, lotion on the table. So much better situation for us. Much more professional here today. Appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the call up. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you guys soon. Unless we all win this Nick Robertson special tonight.
And then we're gone forever.
Yeah.
We'll have to get you on again closer to the new year here when we got the Leafs Isles back to back, home and home. We'll have to do a little preview there.
Yeah, can't wait for everyone to be like, I can't believe these guys still boo Jonathan Tavares when Philip Broberg got booed in Edmonton. And like, that's fans, man. Those are real fans over there.
I'll pump the narrative that it's a disgrace that you guys are booing him. I'm gonna push that hard. But no, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Hope to see you soon. Moretto, thanks as always. You're back here tomorrow. You, me, who's tomorrow?
So money tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah, another real cast and real bets that'll be given out on the show tomorrow as well. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for more picks and previews. Appreciate it as always. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck in your bets.